Introduction. The political background of the letters. The stern letters of Pliny were all composed in the year between 97 and 112 during the principates of Nera and of Trajan, but they contain references to events which date back half a century. Moreover, Pliny's political stance can be fully understood only by consideration of the evolution of the principate for the days of Augustus. When Augustus assumed direct control of Rome, which was exhausted by civil discord, he sought to mitigate the resentment of nostalgic republicans by encouraging the myth of diarchy, joint rule between princeps, as he styled himself, and the Senate. Subsequent history exposed the hollowness of the claim. Pliny makes no direct criticisms of the reign of Tiberius and of Gaius, but he waxes bitter about the servitude of the Senate under Claudius. Though the emperor sought deference to the Senate, his manipulation of the reins of power was demonstrated by his increasing control of the civilian treasury, by the appointments of governors of the senatorial provinces, and above all by the establishment of a court bureaucracy under the control of 4 imperial freedmen. The most prominent of these was Pallas, Secretary of Finance. In 2 letters, Pliny draws attention to the obsequious behavior of the Senate towards this slave, as he inaccurately calls him. Ake 6.4. He cites the inscription on Pallas' tomb, which recorded that on his retirement the Senate declared to him the insignia of Praetor, together with 115 million sesterces. Distinctions was stated on such line, and Field 729.3. Pliny is so infuriated by this inscription that he looks out the decree in the Roman archives and devoted long satirical return to the voluntary degradation of the Senate in making this award. 6. This increasing despotism of Claudius' successor Nero was reflected in the savage persecution which followed his murder of his interfering mother Agrippina and the death of his discreet advisor Burrus in 62, following the condemnation and murder of Christians after the Great Fire of 1564 and the conspiracy of Piso in 95. Nero ordered the execution of the enforced Seneca in Crete of about 20 senators and the exiles of another 13. Pliny was bitter not only about the systematic persecution of worthy men, but also about the informers who led the evidence of treason against fellow senators. CEG 5.1. In more enlightened days, Trajan cited Nero as a exemplar of how an emperor should not behave, how he conducted inquiry into allegations against his freedman Ephraemus. Pliny cites with a proviso remark that freedman is not politicus. That freedman is not Polycletus. He was the notorious freedman of Nero, and I am not Nero. 631.9. Pliny was too young to witness the turbulent year of the 4 emperors, which ensued when Nero failed to establish a successor, but his family doubtless welcomed the restoration of discipline with the accession of Vespasian in 69. The fiction of diarchy was now totally dispelled. Henceforward the Senate had to bow before the imperial bureaucracy. Vespasian held the consulship every year until his death except 73 and 78, and his son Titus, in addition to holding 7 consulships with his father, was awarded the 2 powers which guaranteed his succession. The the Proconsulare Imperium, and the Tribunicia Potestas. Recalcitrant senators who refused to cooperate, like Helvidius Priscus, were banished. Priscus indeed was eventually executed. Philosophers who fomented opposition were cited. Vespasian had no difficulty in ensuring the smooth succession of his son in 79. In spite of the authoritarian attitude of the emperor towards the Senate, Pliny's letters offer no criticism of Vespasian. It is doubly significant that his uncle, the elder Pliny, was a close confidant. He was a member of the emperor's council and was appointed by him to various offices, including the command of the Western Fleet at Misenum, as our Pliny notes 3 5.7 and note 6 16.4. It is less surprising that there is no criticism of Titus in view of the brevity of his reign and his popular policies of banishing informers and discouraging charges of treason. He was popular not only with the Senate but also with Romans in general. He was the dear one and darling of the human race. Suetonius Titus I, the elder Pliny's friendship with the Veda extended to the son. He dedicated his monumental natural history to him. The sudden death of the young emperor in 81 was thoughtful observers wondered whether this popularity could have been maintained had he lived longer. The repressive regime of Domitian, which followed, lent Titus to a reign of a nostalgic glow, especially in view of the alleged coolness between the two brothers. See War 9.2. The shadow of Domitian's reign darkens the pages of Pliny's letters, which reinforce the jaundiced views of Tacitus in the Agricola and of Juvenal in his fourth satire. The combination of these three powerful voices, representative of the great majority of the Senate, which condemned Domitian's memory after his death in September 96, had to be set against the more balanced estimate of Suetonius' biography and the flattering attentions of the post-Martial and Statius. A strong case can be made for the emperor's conscientious administration of the provinces, for his financial stringency, and for his attempt to maintain high standards of public morality. But Pliny's letters ignore these virtues. When he writes on the banishment of Valerius Licinianus, accused of sexual depravity with the Vestal Virgin Cornelia, he presents a lengthy indictment of the emperor for the barbaric cruelty of entombment of the allegedly innocent woman, supplemented with the accusation of Domitian's own sexual immorality with his niece, which led to her death after abortion for 11.6. But the bulk of the vendetta against the emperor rightly details the executions and exile of both opponents of the regime, together with condemnation of the peccable informers who laid charges of treason against the victims. Pliny is particularly severe on his bête noire, Regulus, for his carrying of the innocent 1:5, and there are also scathing condemnations of Messallinus and of Publicius Sextus 6:13. Pliny goes so far as to claim that he himself might have become a victim had Domitian lived longer, for an accusation laid by Matthius Carus was found on the emperor's desk after his death 727.14. Pliny repeatedly and strenuously defends his own intrepid conduct during these troubled years. Though his incipient though his incipient career indicated no hindrance to its progress. The peaceful succession to Nerva was ensured by the conspirators who had murdered Domitian. He was not their first choice, but he was acceptable to the body of senators as a moderate who had held the consulship task during the insecurity of the early months of his tenure, c. 913. He revoked the oppressive measures of Domitian, recalling assize and restoring confiscated properties so that his 16-month reign was lauded as the restoration of liberty. 913.4 cf. Tacitus Agricola 3. The third present danger from restive army units was dispelled by Nerva's adoption in October 97 of the distinguished soldier Trajan as co-regent. At this time, Trajan was governor of Upper Germany. He succeeded to the throne on the death of the elderly and ailing Nerva in January 98. For Pliny, the reign of Nerva marked the beginning of his standing as a senior political figure. The Principate of Trajan, 98 until 117, was regarded throughout antiquity as a golden age, adored by the common folk and worshipped by the soldiery. The new emperor won the unstinting devotion of the Senate, which he treated with such grave respect that there was general acknowledgment that the Principate and liberty were at last reconciled. In 100, Pliny delivered his speech of thanks for the award for his consulship to Trajan in the Senate. This speech, the Panegyricus, has survived. In it, he depicts Trajan as the Arya prince, tracing his career from the governorship of Upper Germany in 96, with praise of his love and peace, his political moderation, and his generosity. The cordial relations between the emperor and Pliny are reflected at many points in the letters. During the trial of Marius Priscus in January 100, Trajan sought consent of Pliny's lungs after he had spoken for almost 5 hours, so Pliny reports at 2:11.15. Without a hint of self-irony, he obtains the right of 3 children, not only for himself but also for his friends Forconius, Romanus, and Suetonius. 10 to 2:13.8, 10:94 until 5. He is readily granted leave from his post as at the treasury to dedicate a temple at Tivernum and to attend to affairs of his estate nearby. 10:8 until 9. He asks for and is granted a priesthood. 10:13.4.8. Above all, the reward of the governorship of Bithynia Pontus, the friendly interest with Trajan shows about the progress of the arduous voyage, and the Pythian replies to Pliny's queries and requests from Bithynia, as recorded in Book 10, indicate the emperor's careful concern. The final extant letters 10:120 until 1, in which Pliny requested and received permission for his wife Calpurnia to use the imperial transport system in order to return home more speedily, so that this cordial relationship continued throughout Pliny's tenure of his post.